Hello YouTube and hello Instagram. Putting up this video is a little bit off cuff. I had picked to kind of do 1 day a week or 2 days a week on YouTube and put loads of more up on Instagram, but I needed to do this video, and I did do for TikTok, but unfortunately I think that TikTok doesn't, or Instagram doesn't like TikTok videos being put up on their space. So let me talk to you about what's happened tonight. Now, this is not the first time that this has happened in the gym. I hate when men in the gym act like fucking dickheads and intimidate women. And is it any wonder why women are looking for their own spaces to work out in? Because at the end of the day, we feel like men want to take over and that they're wanting to fucking intimidate us. And they will say they're not. They are. They are doing it. Because it's happened to me before, and I will tell you tonight's incident in a minute. But where I have been sitting on the free weights and I've been sitting on the bench, a man comes into the free weights area, sees that there's no benches. He works out behind me, but doesn't work out behind the rest of the men. As if to say, well, if I work out here long enough, she's going to turn around and go, oh, do you want this bench? I guess so. No, sir. 3 bags full, sir. No, I'm not that type of fucking woman. I am not going to let you fucking intimidate me out of a bench. It has happened. What happened this evening is it escalated, right? So let me tell you what happened. In my gym, there is a corner that is kind of, there's a couple of, I don't know, they're not called, they are treadmills, but they're the treadmills with the curves in them. I call them travelators for some reason. The name will come back to me at some stage. But there's a row of them there, and then nobody really uses them that much, but when they do use them, they kind of use the first 2, and then they don't use the one that's near the mirrors. And in that corner, people do work out in that corner. And in that corner, there's also a boxing thing where it has numbers on it, you know, that you box. But I go into that corner on a constant basis to practice my posing for my bodybuilding competition next year. And I'm minding my own business. I'm not disturbing anybody. People know that I do that on a constant basis. And people see me doing it, and people just ignore me. They get on with things. Some people stare, some people look, and I don't mind. It's kind of given me the confidence to be able to get up on stage by people looking at me. But I couldn't use the studios because the studios were both full. There was people using one studio, and then there was a class in another one. So I decided to do what I wanted to do up in the corner. As I say, also doing it in the gym kind of gives me that confidence of people are going to be looking at me on stage. So if I can do it in front of all the people in the gym, I can do it on the stage. Anyway, I digress. I'm minding my own business. This guy then comes over to that boxing unit, and instead of, with proper gym etiquette, you know, the gym etiquette that we use, instead of asking me, is it okay if I work out here and box this thing, or how long will you be in the corner, or how long will you know, can I kind of get a time that you'd be finished or whatever. If he had have asked me and said that he was going to do boxing, which he wasn't even doing boxing, he was kickboxing this thing. If he had said to me, that's what I am doing, if he had said that, I would have said, not a problem, I will move. But his expectation was that I should have moved. He said, you could have moved over there, you could have went there in minutes. Why should I move? I was in this space first. And if you know anything about gym etiquette, if you're in that space first, you have entitlement to that space. If you're on that piece of equipment, you have the entitlement to that piece of equipment first. If there's somebody asks to work in with you and you're happy enough for that to happen, that happens. But this isn't a gym where it's not a pure gym, or it's not a gym where it's massively busy and people normally don't need to work in with people. But I would have been happy enough to work in with, you know, I would have been happy enough if he was boxing, just boxing, I would have been able to do, but I couldn't do anything. And literally we were arm's length away from each other, and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do my posing because I couldn't move, you know, because I was scared, because at the end of the day, he was kickboxing this thing. And if he had a kickbox me, I would have been knocked into next week. I have to give him his dues. He fucking can punch, so he can. But when I said to him, I was really polite, and I said, excuse me, you don't mind just waiting, could you use the bag or something, you know, until I'm finished? He went, and he became really aggressive with it, and I was like, do you know what, he kept saying about me moving, and I was like, why should I move? It's not, you know what I mean, you seem to think that I should move, and you must have had this expectation. And it's just funny that the gym creep maybe I'm being paranoid about it, but the gym creep was behind him. He went from one part of the gym to the other with a kettlebell, and kind of for some reason they ended up behind him and in that corner. And I was just thinking, is maybe are these two in cahoots to kind of get me, intimidate me out of that corner? That ain't going to happen. I am not one of these women that you is going to go, yes sir, no sir, tea bags full sir. No. I am not going to be submissive, and I'm not going to turn around and go, well, I'll move out of the way, you know. No. That's not going to happen. And it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't be that women should feel intimidated out of spaces in the gym. Women should be able to work wherever they want to. But I have noticed this now happening in this gym on a constant basis, where women are in a space of their own and men are coming into that space, especially the gym creep. He has, I've seen him now getting into women's spaces to try and chat them up as well. So, yeah. I am really, really angry about this. I'm not angry anymore, as in, you know, I was angry, but it needs to be highlighted. It needs to stop. Men need to fucking stop. Men need to behave themselves. Karma's a lovely little bitch, and she will come and fucking smack you one in the face. So, you know, if you are, it kind of makes me think, if you're doing that in the gym, what are you doing to women outside of the gym? Are you constantly just approaching women and, you know, pushing yourself on women, you know what I mean? I bet you he is the type of man that when he's out and he's trying to chat women up in the pub or whatever, or maybe he's maybe he's single, or maybe he's not single, but I bet you he's the type of person that doesn't take no for an answer. You know what I mean? And you can tell that type of person doesn't take no for an answer. Maybe if he has a girlfriend, if he's out and about with his mates, he won't take no for an answer. Or he's bullish, or he gets on like a fucking prick. And I hope he sees, or somebody sees this and shows it to him. Because I went to the managers and I said to them about it. And then I went back up to him, because I wasn't done. And I said to him, I've spoken to management and I've told them about you. I says, at the end of the day, you've intimidated me out of this corner. All you had to do was ask. You just had to ask, but you didn't bother. And there was a woman that seen this. She then came down and spoke to me and said, are you okay? And I says, can you speak to the managers and tell them about this? And she said, yeah, I will say. And she said, he was really aggressive. There was no manners whatsoever. He was so aggressive towards her. And when I was going out of the gym, she said, don't let anybody push you down. I says, believe me, I don't. I do not let anyone push me down. And no one will push me down. And no man will intimidate me out of the fucking space that I pay for, as well as everybody else. Because I pay for that gym, and that gym ain't cheap. And here's the thing, I was really, really bad mood. I felt like saying, do you know what, I'm just going to leave the gym. I'm just going to leave the gym. And the girl at the reception was like, don't be silly. And I was like, well, I said, you know, where am I? If I did leave the gym, there wouldn't even be a gym that I could go to, because at the end of the day, the gym, the golf club up the road, the gym isn't that great. It's small and tiny. The Queen's Centre here in Hollywood is completely useless. It's a terrible gym. And then the other gym that I could only go to would be the Culloden Hotel Gym. Now, it's not a bad gym. It's actually quite a good gym for being a hotel gym. But it's £100 a month, and I'm not paying £100 a month to go to some gym. Not a chance. I don't live near anywhere else. I could probably go into the gyms in the town, but that would mean taking a bus or a train on a constant basis, and I'm not paying that money to go travel into the gym when literally the gym that I go to is a bike ride up the road or a 10-minute walk up the road. You know what I mean? So anyway, my rant is over. I have said what I had to say. Men, you need to watch yourselves.